What if I told you that right now, hidden deep inside your own body, 53 powers are already vibrating, waiting for the right moment to awaken? What if the next 24 hours could begin to unlock them one by one, not through some secret tool outside of you, but through a simple act you can do right now? The truth is, your body already carries the codes of awakening. You only need to open the first door. Take your 2 fingers and place them just above your navel. Close your eyes. Take 3 slow, steady breaths, and whisper inside your mind, I allow the truth. You don't need to force anything. Just breathe and allow. If you feel a slight warmth, a chill crawling gently up your spine, or a sudden calm in your mind that is not your imagination, that is the first power stirring, the gift of vibrational clarity. It is the moment you begin to sense the hidden tone of reality itself, not with your eyes or ears, but with your inner being. From this point, each new step opens a deeper layer of your energy field. The ancients always began this way. They knew the body itself was the temple, and the awakening of the inner microcosm, the little universe inside you, was the key to touching the greater universe around you. That is why they said, as above, so below. The moment you awaken clarity inside, you awaken clarity outside. But this path has a guardian, a final key you cannot rush toward. At the end of these steps waits a sacred name, a sound older than language, whispered across generations, hidden in memory, preserved in silence. It is not an ordinary word, but a living code. When it is spoken or even remembered within, it reorganizes chaos into balance. The ancients protected this name because they knew words carry power, and true names reshape reality. That name is Samyama. Samyama is not learned in books, nor taught in classrooms. It is remembered as if it was etched into you before you were born. When spoken, it does not rest only in the ears or in the rational mind. It vibrates in the bones, the heart, the very breath. It touches regions of the soul once unreachable. It is not symbolic. It is active. It awakens. The moment Samyama enters you, the second power stirs. Magnetic attention. Scattered attention is leaking energy, but focused attention is fire. The initiates knew this. They knew that when the mind was fragmented, they were weak. But when they gathered all focus into one point, they could cut through the veils of the unseen. This is the secret of magnetic attention. And then arises the third power, mental fixation. The restless mind that jumps endlessly begins to still. Thoughts that once flickered like a weak flame become steady like fire sheltered from the wind. The alchemists called this fixing mercury, turning what was unstable into something solid, indestructible. When your thoughts are no longer scattering, they become a creative weapon, a tool to open inner worlds. But Samyama is not ordinary meditation. It is not sitting with eyes closed trying to empty your mind. It is fullness, not emptiness. It is presence so intense, so alive, that it fuses with the object of your focus. Imagine a drop of water falling into the ocean. The drop does not vanish by losing itself. It vanishes by becoming the ocean. That is what happens when your attention is fixed in Samyama. You no longer observe from a distance. You merge. This begins with a simple act. Choose an object, a candle flame, a flower, your own breath, a symbol, even a sensation within you. Hold your attention there without strain, without hurry. At first it seems simple, but then you begin to notice subtle shifts. The air feels heavier. Time stretches. Slowly the boundary between you and it starts to dissolve. Your attention is no longer leaving you to travel outward. Instead, a shared field appears. You and the object become one space. Here awakens the fourth power, solid presence. It is the strength to hold your awareness so steadily that it no longer slips away. Even a few seconds of this kind of presence can dissolve the invisible wall between observer and observed. And from this comes the fifth power, fusion. You no longer watch the flame. You are the flame. You no longer breathe the air. You are the breath. Sound no longer arrives from outside. It vibrates inside you. The separation collapses. Reality itself softens. The body feels lighter. The world flows like light instead of stone. For the first time, you know what it means to truly awaken. This fusion unlocks gifts one after another. The first gift is vibrational clarity, the ability to sense the hidden tone of every space and person. The second gift is energetic perception, feeling the emotional field of others without being trapped in it, as if you are a radar reading invisible waves. The third gift is invisible listening, hearing the silence, sensing emotions others cannot speak. The fourth gift is temporal expansion, noticing the space between one thought and the next, and discovering freedom inside that gap. The fifth gift is hidden language, reading the truth in gestures, looks, and whispers, seeing the signals the body always carries. The sixth gift is living synchronicity, the realization that even plants, stones, crystals, and fire respond to you as if they are alive, because they are. Each of these gifts is proof that the awakening has begun. They are not illusions. They are doors. The alchemists called this albedo, the whitening, when the soul is washed with inner light. Hermetic wisdom described it with the law of correspondence. What you contemplate, you become. The candle becomes you. You become the candle. The breath becomes you. You become the breath. The division dissolves. But this is only the beginning. As the process continues, deeper powers begin to surface. Empathy grows into something so complete that you can feel another person's joy or sorrow inside your own heart while still remaining whole. The future begins to show itself in glimpses, not fixed images, but as premonitions, a sudden weight announcing danger, a sudden lightness announcing blessing. Life whispers before it speaks aloud. Your steps light up at the moment they need to be taken. The more you surrender, the more the hidden codes wake up. Forgotten gifts rise from within like seeds that have waited in silence for centuries. You begin to sense time differently, to perceive layers of reality that ordinary eyes cannot see. You begin to hear the living conversation between your soul and the world around you. This is Samyama. It is not silence, but presence. It is not belief, but direct knowing. It is not emptiness, but union. It is the remembering of what you already are, the reclaiming of the powers that were never gone, only hidden. Step by step, gift by gift, you climb the invisible ladder. And as you climb, the 53 powers that slept within you begin to awaken, until you discover that you are not just part of the universe. You are the living field of the universe itself, awake at last. The reception of energy does not require words. You don't need anyone to speak for you to understand. Just stepping into a room, standing near someone, or entering a new space sends a wave of invisible information pouring into your being. It comes not as noise, not as chatter, but as a clarity so pure it resembles a river of crystal water flowing straight through you. Suddenly, the hidden becomes visible, the unseen is revealed, as though the atmosphere itself is broadcasting what it has always held in silence. The body, without waiting for permission, begins to respond. Pain loosens its grip and dissolves. Burdens lighten and fade. And what once seemed endless suddenly reveals its temporary nature. There is no effort in this process. No special practice is required. Pure vibration itself creates the shift, because high energy does not allow low energy to remain. The body remembers its first design, its original innocence, and begins to return to harmony on its own, adjusting and aligning to what it was always meant to be. From here, the subtle ear awakens. Spiritual hearing opens like a door you never noticed was there. At first it comes as delicate tones, faint and distant like bells carried on the wind. Then sometimes it comes as complete sentences, thoughts that enter the mind yet feel weightier than the ordinary stream of ideas. They carry a force that does not belong to reason but to something greater. This is not fantasy or imagination, it is perception expanding. It is the awareness that the unseen world has never been silent. It has always been whispering, but only now has your inner hearing become sharp enough to notice its song. As this sensitivity grows, the body rises as a compass. What once felt like random sensations, chills, warmth, tightness, or heaviness, become direct messages. A sudden chill runs through you, and you step away from a wrong path. A warmth spreads through your chest, and you know you are aligned. A sharp weight in the stomach warns of a danger that words have not yet revealed. The body, once seen as only flesh, proves itself a teacher. It is not only matter but wisdom, not only substance but signal. A master as reliable as the scriptures of any tradition. When this inner trust deepens, the world itself begins to mirror your state. Synchronicity replaces chance. Coincidence vanishes. You think of a person and they appear at your door. You form a question in silence, and the answer arrives in the line of a song, in the words of a stranger, in letters on a passing sign. Time folds, space bends, and creation moves in perfect step with your awareness. It is a dance where everything speaks, and every movement is part of the same choreography. This sensitivity soon extends beyond yourself. You begin to feel the hidden pains of others. Even if a smile covers their face, your gaze touches beneath it, perceiving where energy is stuck and where sorrow vibrates. You feel the silence of their wounds, not to condemn them, but to hold compassion. Their body speaks through its silence, asking for freedom, and you stand as one who can witness, as one who can offer space for that pain to be released. From this comes a flame within, a steady fire that no circumstance can quench, the sense of mission. It is not about job titles, labels, or roles. It is an inner certainty, an unmistakable vibration that tells you there is something in this life that only you can bring forth. Whether or not you yet know how to give it form does not matter. The flame burns anyway. Your existence itself is already part of the mission. This fire is more than guidance. It is fuel. It sustains you. It strengthens you. It gives meaning to every breath, and in its heat, illusions burn away, false layers peel back, burdens you thought belonged to you dissolve. Each spark lands with precision, breaking the armor you had built to survive, leaving you uncovered but stronger than ever before. As this fire continues, a natural shield emerges. It does not close you off. You do not become hardened or cold. You remain open, compassionate, and present, but no longer invaded. Other people's emotions can no longer pour into you uncontrollably. Your energy responds before your mind even notices, setting boundaries invisible yet powerful. You stay sensitive but not drowned. You feel deeply but remain whole. The flame also burns away repetitive cycles, those storylines that played over and over, relationships ending the same way, mistakes repeating, sabotage arising without cause, suddenly lose their script. The trauma that sustained them is burned at the root. The circle that once seemed unbreakable breaks, and what you thought was destiny dissolves before your eyes. You are no longer chained to patterns. Deeper still, memories hidden not in your mind, but in your body begin to rise. Each cell carries truth, and now it begins to release it. Forgotten feelings, buried sensations, experiences that shaped you but were sealed away surface like old letters finally opened. They do not return to trap you but to free you, to show what must be understood. And when this fire reaches the roots of lineage, it burns even ancestral pain. Guilt that was not yours, fear carried across generations, sorrow left unresolved by parents and grandparents. All of it begins to lift. The thread that bound you to their suffering is cut, and you realize you are not meant to carry what was never yours. From this release, the solar plexus glows like a living sun. Warmth rises within you, but it is not fever. It is life. Golden light pulses at your center. Fear dissolves into confidence. Shame transforms into radiant presence. For the first time, you fully take up space in your own body. You anchor here, and your very being says, "This is my place." Old beliefs that ruled you collapse. Thoughts like, "I don't deserve," "I'm not enough," "That's not for me," no longer hold power. They are exposed as nothing but old codes, programs implanted by past pain. The fire refuses to sustain them. In their place is new clarity, where thought itself feeds on truth, no longer on lies. With this rebirth, you find yourself unshaken in heavy environments. Spaces that once drained you now shift in your presence. People who once overwhelmed you no longer touch your center. You don't escape their energy. You transform it. Instead of being pulled down, you anchor strength. The atmosphere changes around you, not because you shield yourself, but because you shine. This is the inner sun of the ancients, the fire Thoth spoke of, the flame that reveals without consuming, the light that organizes chaos into order. Alchemy called this stage the yellowing, when base metal turns toward gold, when darkened awareness begins to shine with its own light. Consciousness does not destroy here. It reveals. The light was always present. Now it shines unveiled. As the fire climbs higher, it reaches the space between your eyebrows. Here, silence deepens, but it is not empty. It is a silence that speaks. A soundless sound pulses within, calling your name. It is the universe whispering from inside you, reminding you that reality has always had two layers: the physical anyone can see, and the vibrational, which is visible only when the inner eye awakens. You no longer just look, you see. With this vision comes the sight of the aura. Every person is more than their form. They become landscapes of light, fields of color, areas of density and glow. You see a gentle light near the heart, or a shadow near the stomach. There is no judgment in this vision, only recognition. Each person carries a map of their vibration, painted in light. Then comes the ability to read intention. Words no longer fool you. A smile can hide, but it cannot deceive energy. You meet someone and you know, instantly, whether they are here to give or to take. Their mask drops before it is even put on. You sense the truth before it's spoken. Lies lose their power because energy cannot lie. You feel misalignment as surely as a spark against your skin. This clarity extends inward. You begin to see your own karmic cycles. The wounds that have shaped your life reveal themselves not as random, but as echoes of choices from other times. Abandonment, fear, unexplained grief. They show their roots in past lives. You begin to see the thread that ties lifetimes together. Time itself loosens. The past becomes memory. The future loses its anxious weight, and only the present remains real. In this eternal now, all is alive, all is complete, all is here. And then, an even deeper remembrance arises. You recall initiatory death, not the death of the body, but the sacred threshold your soul crossed before birth. You remember choosing this life. With it comes responsibility, the knowing that nothing in your path is random. This is the single eye, the eye of Horus restored, the vision that heals and protects. It is the descent of spirit into form, the light of the soul illuminating matter. From within, vibration begins to throb. It is not sound that travels through the air, but sound that resonates in the core of your being. A soundless drumbeat, older than memory, deeper than thought. This is the primordial call. It does not feel like something new. It feels like something eternal, something you have always known but forgotten. It is the echo of spirit, the reminder of who you truly are, whispering from within, resonating through every cell, burning through every illusion. When the sound first reaches you, you realize it is not an ordinary sound, but something deeply personal, a unique signature that belongs only to you. It condenses into recognition, and you become aware of your soul name. In ancient Egypt, the Ren, the true name, was believed to sustain the soul even beyond death. When vibration touches this name, everything inside you suddenly aligns, as though all the scattered fragments of your life converge at one point. It is not a name you speak aloud, but one you feel in the deepest layers of your being. It is a vibrational seal, a hidden identity that does not define you to the world, but establishes you in the invisible fabric of spirit. As this recognition deepens, something awakens. Your soul name calls forth an energy that carries the creative resonance of the voice without voice. You begin to understand what the ancients meant by logos, the creative force that brings reality into being through naming. In this state, every thought you have becomes a vibration sent into the cosmos, and every word you speak in alignment with your soul name ceases to be mere sound. It becomes creation, initiation, and direction. It carries the ability to shape reality. to open new worlds instead of simply describing what already exists. Then, the hidden hearing begins. You start to perceive subtle frequencies that do not come from people or the environment, but from layers of the unseen. These are sounds that are not sounds, voices that belong to the universe itself. It feels as if space is filled with ancient whispers, waiting for someone who knows how to listen. This awakening calls forth the memory of your origin, reminding you that nothing is ever truly lost, only hidden until the right moment. Along with the soul name comes the remembrance of the vow you made before incarnation. You recall, not as an image, but as a certainty, that you once chose to enter this life with intention. It was a silent, sacred promise, and it still echoes within you now. With this remembrance comes the understanding that your life is not random, but a continuation of a commitment that exists beyond the physical world. The sound and the name merge, forming an unbreakable field of identity. This field does not isolate you, but connects you more deeply to everything, weaving your vibration into a greater chorus where every soul has its own essential tone. Your unique resonance becomes a necessary note in the cosmic harmony. And as this awareness grows, you recognize that within the sound and the name is a method, a path of activation that has been guarded since time immemorial. It only reveals itself once the soul name is fully recognized. And once it is activated, the sound pulses within you like a secret code written into the fibers of your being. This realization expands consciousness in layers. You begin to remember your life mission, not as a thought or an idea, but as a living certainty that anchors into your very spine. Doubts dissolve, replaced by the clarity of knowing why you are here. Subtle forces begin guiding you through synchronicities, sudden thoughts, and invisible adjustments to your path. You do not call them. They were always there, waiting for your vibration to become legible to them. Through this opening, you enter vibrational communication, where words are no longer needed. Truth, intention, and emotion travel directly through the field, unhindered by barriers. With each step, creation begins to flow naturally from pure intention. The mind no longer doubts, it emits. When aligned with your soul name, your thoughts condense into experience and reality forms around them without effort. You discover that creation is not about force, but about vibrational clarity. From here, spiritual channeling emerges, not as external voices, but as inner truths that reveal themselves instantly without hesitation. Even your voice changes, carrying a healing frequency that touches those who hear it. Ordinary words become medicine, releasing others into clarity and peace. You are not healing them. It is the vibration of the name moving through your voice. As the vibration strengthens, the invisible begins to manifest. What was hidden shows itself. What was blocked begins to move. Reality reshapes itself around your frequency. Light itself begins to follow you, not because you command it, but because it recognizes itself in you. Your presence becomes magnetic, carrying an invisible crown of subtle radiance. Even your body begins to respond, as if ancient instructions written into your cells are awakening. Without effort, the body remembers how to repair, restore, and activate what had long been dormant. Then comes the deepest remembrance, the return to origin consciousness. Here the soul remembers that it is older than time, older than form, even older than its name. You sense that you are part of the original source from which all life arises. With this memory, you realize you are not seeking the code. You are the code. Reality itself bends around your vibration, reorganizing itself in response to your resonance. Spaces shift when you enter them. Anxiety dissolves in your presence. Harmony replaces discord. You no longer just feel the field, you reprogram it by existing in alignment. Emotions also transform. Fear becomes guidance. Anger becomes creative energy. Sadness becomes compassion. No feeling is wasted anymore. Each one is fuel for transmutation. With stability, even the structures of reality begin to shift. Obstacles dissolve. What seemed impossible yields to the clarity of your vibration. This is not magic, but the natural consequence of resonance. The ancients called it the moment when the initiate becomes the living convergence, the fixed gold of alchemy, no longer moving in and out of the sacred, but embodying it fully as a permanent state. From here, memory expands further. You recognize lifetimes beyond this one, worlds you have walked before, wisdom you have carried across ages. It is not fantasy, but recognition. You are older than you ever thought, and this remembrance anchors you beyond any single story. God is no longer distant or separate, but the very pulse of your breath. The ego dissolves, leaving behind a peace that cannot be broken. And in this silence, your presence itself becomes creative. You do not need to act with force. Things align simply because you are there. Even your gaze carries transmission, awakening others without a word. You begin to sense collective currents, feeling humanity's movements before they happen, attuning to the mood of the earth and the waters, reading the invisible rhythms of the world. Unity becomes a lived truth, not as something achieved, but as something returned to. At this point, something final stirs, the ethical seal. It is not a rule, not fear, not morality imposed, but a living compass that arises naturally. You can no longer act unconsciously, for every choice carries immediate resonance. Anything misaligned becomes too heavy to bear, and truth demands to be lived in every word and gesture. This is where awakening meets its test. It is not about escaping the world, but anchoring into it. Walking down the street becomes prayer. Buying bread becomes sacred. Listening to someone's sorrow becomes service. There is no longer separation between silence and noise, sacred and ordinary. Awakening is not about leaving. It is about embracing, carrying presence in the middle of the chaos, shining light where it is most needed. And yet, even as the circle closes, there is the sense of a new opening, a certainty that something further awaits. The journey was never about collecting techniques. It was about remembering who you have always been. Awakening is not learned, it is returned to. You are the code the universe recognizes, and the universe responds to you in resonance. This is the moment to not just remember, but to live. If you feel this, declare it now. I allow myself to awaken my 53 powers. This anchors the vibration and strengthens the field of all who awaken together.